Right. Speaking of, I'm that type of
You
nigga.
mind? You mind?
No, go ahead, do your thing. Live and uncut.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of, I'm type of nigga. Are different arrangements that was on the cassette? What was the sample clearance issue with that song?
Oh, first of all, we had to clear. We at first, no one. I was a kind of like a catch me if you can nigga. Like I chopped up James Brown. That's a slow down part. The inside of it, the when it goes to that bridge, that's another. I won't give up my. It's a James Brown thing, but that's all I'm saying. I won't say what cut it is because it's fascinating. If they can find it, then more power to them. But yeah, I sampled the beats from "Sing a Simple Song," the break. Everybody knows that. But then I just so it wasn't. I didn't care about samples. I didn't. I love samples, so I didn't care about the clearance of it. We were kind of ahead of the curve at that time, and most all of us who's in the game and are in the game, that they were still trying to figure out how do we collect on this. So eventually, the album started blowing up, and then we had to clear, Sly, and I don't think we ever had to clear James Brown on that one. We had to clear James Brown on For Better For Worse, Rockin' Funky Watergate, guitars, and Lou Donaldson. Dun-dun. But it was like, to me, this is how I feel about sampling. Like Passing Me By, I'll give you an example. Passing Me By is Summer in the City. Skull Snaps is the breakbeat. I can't remember it right now. The hook part. Wish I had LAJ here. He would tell me. Because I would just be going through Reggie's records, and I was not really good at like documenting what I sampled. I was just like, this is what I'm doing, and then we'd have to reverse engineer what I did, So how I feel about it is, okay, Sam, that's and Jimi Hendrix. I ended up having like 10% or something of that song because all the samples had to go. But that's art. I don't care. Like, if I sample something, I'm sampling another person's work. And if it means they have to own it, by all means own it, because we have a whole album. It's like, to me, a lot of the issue with sampling these days is that, oh, well, we have to pay for this and have to. But if you're making and you make a work of art and it's based on someone, the foundation is from another record, why not give them that? That's going to propel the rest of the record. And like I said, I play keyboards. I don't like after we did the Pharcyde, the Rhodes, it's like people really got into it, you know what I'm saying? And I was happy about that. But what I started experiencing is like Mike, and certain people would say, man, you need to use the Rhodes again. You need to. And I was just like, I'm not against using the Rhodes. I'm about being organic. If I use the Rhodes, I'm going to use it because I use the Rhodes, not because I used it on the last record. And because that to me seems like it's like you're scheming. And I'm not a schemer. I don't do that. So on the Wascals album, Wascals Greatest Hits, by the way, the first and last album, be careful with words. It's called spelling, my nigga. It's just Wascals Greatest Hits. Most people's first album is the dopest album. All right, we're gonna be Wascals Greatest Hits. That's it. One and done. But I didn't employ. I went real just breaks, nigga, like hard. Like I was Showbiz and AG and like Diamond D and shit. Them niggas was on fire. They said, it's like I'm sitting in this chair and suddenly it feels hot. Like something's burning. It's these niggas. Fuck. So I was like, wow. So I just was like, that's my zone I was in, And then, because every artist is different. That's why it's a co-production. Like I produced the whole album for Bizarre Ride, except for Other Fish. I was down with LAJ since I was a teen. The nigga was dope. I was a little competitive little nigga. Like, I had a little animosity with him, but me and this nigga was like the only niggas. I mean, we knew all the dope niggas. It's kind of like, I realized it's like that everywhere, like in New York. Everybody, like the dope cats, it's like they know each other, you know what I'm saying? They're interacting. Like, I knew Sir Jinx, you know, I knew DJ Aladdin, like DJ Pooh, Dr. Dre, you know, like, Dre used to have a studio over there on Broadway and shit, and like Slauson and shit. And he used to work with Yellow and all of them. I was a little kid being amazed, like, wow, this is, you know, this nigga is the shit. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't care what anybody says. Dr. Dre, nigga, he's an example of, he knows the breaks, nigga. You listen to Straight Outta Compton, nigga, them just breaks. Them nigga, he was getting down. And then he throw guitars and shit on it. But then he went into more of a programming mode later on, but it still had the intensity. So what is it? It's because you're either dope or you're not. He didn't feel like, oh, I gotta go back to that. I already did that. Let me move on. And if I'm going organic, it's gonna be just as solid, that's the case with him, and it's the case with me, I believe. I mean, I haven't been proved wrong yet.
Right. What would you say your best memories of recording that album were?
That's an interesting question. One in particular was I was sitting outside. We were in the studio at Paramount, and we had Passing Me By on the block and on the 2-inch, and Fat Lip he wrote his rhyme, and he wrote the part, my dear, my dear, my dear, but he didn't have a melody for it. So me and him sat down on the piano. Said, give me a minute. So he gave me the lyrics, and I wrote, my dear, my dear, my dear, you do not know me. And then I went outside and sat with him on the brick, there was like a wall across the street, right there on Santa Monica and Vine, like right in Hollywood. It's like, wow, we're here. Like, and I taught him the melody, and we didn't realize what we were doing. We didn't know that it was going to be received the way it was. We just knew, oh man, this is cool. It's like, if it makes you smile, it makes you feel good. That's my thing. If I'm having fun, niggas better run. That's it. Period. You know. So yeah, that's one of the most memorable. Soulflower, of course, that was a great memory. I remember sleeping under the pool table at Hollywood Sound. Like that's Hollywood Sound was like Prince recorded there, Earth, Wind and Fire, all these people and everything. And back then, we had the big SSL board. So at the end of the night, because it was called like Flying Faders, Total Recall. So they shut the thing down, right? And faders go down. And then they recall my mix, but it would never be exact. So I just said, from here on out, I put a tape from the top of the board and like a big X. Don't touch it. Do not leave it there. We're not recalling shit. Just power it up. And I would sleep I remember the owner, Jesse, rest in peace. He came in, and someone was like, one of the people that worked at the studio was like, yeah, Jay is under the pool table. And Jesse was like, oh, well, that's okay. Like, he's just here. All he wants to do is protect this music. Like, I didn't want anybody touching that mixing board, period. Now with digital, it's like, when you recall it, it is exactly like that, So that, so I remember feeling comfortable. Sometimes they would come in and I would hear them, because I'd be in there till like 4, 5 in the morning. And it'd be like, okay, we got a session at 12. When they're coming in, Mike Ross was like, yo, where's Jay? And then I just get up. I'm coming up from under the pool table. It was some good times. It was great. That album was born out of love. That's all I can say.
Can you speak on the disagreements you had between the group, which led to your leaving the situation?
Well, here's the thing. Like I said, we're all evolving. I when we would go out, we would freestyle, we would hang out, we would dance. I was learning dance from them. I was learning how to MC from Buckwheat. He was one of the greatest I've ever seen. He gave me the keys to the kingdom, so to speak, because we were called Sore Thumb. And I'm that type of nigga. He said, Buckwheat is my name and I'm a sore thumb. That was our next project. Hard Rhymes was our song, me and him, before the Wascals just was coalesced. And he would write my rhymes at first, and I just wasn't comfortable with that. That's not to say that anybody because you can perform a song, a dope rap can be kicked by anybody. But it just wasn't enough for me. So I would be writing. I said, I'm going to write my rhymes. I'm writing it. I'm like, and when I'm trying to say them, I'm out of breath. And I'm like, and then I look at Buckwheat's paper, and it was just so eloquent. It was like, how do you do that? And I'll never forget it. He said, rhyme how you talk. It's just like you walk. It's just like stalking. Them niggas be hawking. You know what I'm saying? Like how I'm talking. So then you find your voice. Like, so that was it. Like but that being said, my goal, that was the first full album I ever did, was All Right. And my goal was, I got to play my role. I would sing the hooks with them. I would do the production. They would write their rhymes, and then I'll mix it down. At some point, and I showed them how to use the MPC and shit, because like KRS said, anybody can or should be able to rock a turntable. You know what I mean? But what happened is, okay, you guys are they would program stuff, and it wasn't up to par. And so in the process of me saying, look, I don't care who makes it. If it's dope, I'm not the kind of guy, I don't want to. I just was like, look, my job is to make sure y'all got the hardest beats ever. We from the West. I'm from Inglewood. I'm representing hip hop. This is not a joke. It's like I say in my song on Negro Knievel, I ain't playing, but I'm playing. You know what I'm saying? It's quantum physics. Like, I ain't playing, nigga. This ain't no joke. But when I'm in it, I'm having fun like a motherfucker. And you can't do that if the quality and the continuity isn't there. So it got to the point where I was like, look, I've done all I can do. I did Return of the B-Boy, and they were interfering with what I did. And I wasn't I could have imposed myself rapping on there, you know. And respect to Jermaine Dupri and all these niggas, but niggas do that. Niggas put a nigga out, put a rap on it. That's great. You getting your name out there. You know, he's a dope producer. That was his choice. I was like, I'm not going to cross that line just because y'all want to encroach on mine. So then that's when I was like, yo, Mike Ross was like, look, nigga, I was bound by contract to finish that album, and I couldn't get my back end without it done. So I was in a situation where, okay, I got all these songs, but I need that one last song. Who can I get? LAJ. So I had LAJ and Trey. Well, Mike Ross put LAJ and Trey in Hollywood Sound A, which was like on Selma. And I was with the rest of the group at Hollywood Sound B, mixing Return of the B-Boy. Because I felt like if I did anything else with them, it was going to be bad vibes. And I believe not just in what you hear, I believe in what you don't hear. I believe when you record with someone like Kendrick Lamar, Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe, vibe is, it's invisible. It's recorded in there. Like I've done records over the years, and the quality of it was like, I have a certain standard, but for some reason, something's wrong. And I know it was because of the company I was keeping and that way. I mean, I've been like, people ask me, would I do a record with them? Yeah. If anything's possible, but I just think that we loved each other. We did what we did, and they started to outgrow allowing me to do what I do best. So Jay came in, he did the song, and we knew, I'll never forget it. I went over there and listened to that, to Other Fish, and I was like, whoa. I was like, well, it's a wrap. And me, I'm like cult classic. I don't change my formula. Like in 2016, Jay, I was like, Jay, I need, you know, I'm doing my album, man. Can you throw me a couple of cuts, a couple of beats? And he did. We were touring. We were doing the Bizarre Ride thing. And he gave me the one that's Forehead featuring Wascals and Montage 1. And and then he gave me Wild Animal, which features I Kill. And it's the same thing. Like, Jay blew me out on Negro Knievel. Like, by all accounts, people say Wild Animal is like their favorite. And I love that. It's not like, oh my God. I joke with him sometimes, like, nigga, oh, that's how you feel? You gonna just blow me out on my own album, nigga? He probably, nigga, Jay might be watching that. That's how you feel, nigga? No. But that's what I love. Me and Jay, we still get down like that. Our goal is to just hit the maximum bar based on how you feel, how the beat moves you. Not who did. The beat could come from wherever. But we just so happened, I know, and I remember we were going back and forth. There was another version of Wild Animal, and I was like, nah, nigga, you got to give me something else. And he's dope enough and humble enough to not be like, hey, what do you mean I got to give you something? I'm LAJ. Like, no, he was like, all right, well, look. And then he sent me, I remember I was in Barcelona, and this, on my phone, he's like, listen to this. And KRS is on that hook. Wild Animal. That's KRS. So that's even like divine in and of itself. But when I heard that beat, dun, 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 I said, oh shit, it's a rap, nigga. Yes. And then I murdered it. You know what I'm saying? K Natural, my nigga from our gang, he was like the Wascals. You know, we make these plans and stuff. Had the Wascals and, you know, the Little Rascals had them, and then they had our gang. So he was like from Westchester in high school and shit and he lived in South Central. We just was having fun and feeding off the energy, but those things didn't end up. But I loved K-Nat. I'm still down with the nigga, man. And he blessed me on that song and a couple of others. And so I don't change the formula. That's all I'm saying. Like, why? I just knew Jay could give me that. I was in Spain. I was dealing with, you know, it was a really challenging to get that album done, you know, on the other side of the world. When I finished, like, I don't know, 60% of it in Los Angeles, you know. But, you know, it's hip hop, dude. And if it runs in your blood, you'll get there. So, yeah. So, I love those dudes. We all have careers, you know. I'm sorry about COVID, but, you know, they got careers. They, you know, they work, they do music for a living. Right.
So to me, that's I'm satisfied with that. I wouldn't do something like, I don't jump for the money. I always say, and then I have to be biblical on this one. Seek the kingdom, and everything else will be added. The kingdom to me in hip hop is the hip hop nation. It's like, I honor the kingdom. So if I do that, then even though, like, you know, some people say, man, well, this is a different world about promotion and stuff. People will catch up. I feel just as strongly about the Bizarre Ride to the Pharcyde album as I do about Negro Knievel, as I do about what I just did when George Floyd got killed. I was in Spain, and, you know, I couldn't come back, you know, the pandemic, and my sons, I got a 25-year-old and 22-year-old son, you know, and it's like, niggas is getting killed like you wouldn't believe. And I started crying. I couldn't believe it. And I remember I stayed up till, like, I saw the sun come up, and I wrote Jay Tovin, Opus 846. Shout out to my manager, Carrie Busalis. She came into the picture, and she was like, we can do this. And I got with a fantastic director out there, Ignacio Marine, and we did this video, and that was like I had to do something. I couldn't go out there and protest. I couldn't protect my sons. So that was how my contribution to the movement, and it's strong, and I felt good about it. Nobody wants to sit around. Nobody sits around and says, "Oh my God, let's write a song about police murdering niggas." Like it doesn't. That's a one-off. I'm like apolitical, but I do support my people. So if it comes from the heart, then that's it. I sat back and was like, "Whoa, Jay Tobin, this is crazy." So yeah.